Welcome to Energetics with Kim and Veronica, where we invite you to nourish the energy of your inner why, your inner healing, magic, prosperity, your curiosity, clarity, playfulness. Welcome home.
Welcome, everybody, to Energetics with Kim and Veronica. Hi, Veronica.
Hi, Kim.
And so we just wanted to start the call off by inviting everybody to just kind of listen as if it was the first time you've heard any of this info, because this kind of info, there's so much of it out there, and there's so much that we've all already heard before. However, there's different ways of playing with it if we're willing to hear it differently. And so instead of coming in wondering what's new, just kind of you be new. So you show up brand new. You show up brand new and fresh, beginner's mind, and let's just see where it goes.
I love it. Yeah, it's so great because, the way we receive information or insights or wisdom is really filtered through the lens of our psyche, which is continually refining and evolving. So there are things that I heard or learned 20 years ago, even that it's like, will hit me new and fresh, or it'll take it to a deeper level, kind of peeling back the layers of the onion. And sometimes our brain does this funny thing where it's like, I want something new and fresh and shiny. And really, the wisdom of the ages is the truth of how our lives operate. And so it really is the staple, the standard foundational information, but it's so unique in the way that we can experience it and receive it, based on the way that our operating system, and our operating system is continuing to refine all the time. So I really appreciate that, Kim, because you and I have both been in receiving information in different ways where we've noticed ourselves discounting it, and then we've challenged ourselves to go back and really listen with fresh perspective, and we've received something that was perfect for us in the moment. So trusting that it's all for us now.
That is so true. Like for me, it's like, yeah, I'll listen, and if I'll notice if I'm listening to find that nugget I've never heard before, I'm not really listening. I'm searching, right? But when I can be present and listen to what's being shared, there's an actual transmission to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
And
trusting
you
that
know, it's the
anything.
thing. Yeah, it's the thing where you watch the same movie twice and you see stuff you didn't see the first time. So it's kind of like you get it when you get it, right? And so that's our
Yeah,
invitation
exactly.
to everybody is show up with beginner's mind. And that means us
Yeah.
too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We're in this in the same walk with you. Yep. So today we're really diving into the inner environment. So this is something that Kim and I have talked about throughout many, programs that we facilitated together, and, working one-on-one with clients, is really cultivating, nourishing, nurturing the inner environment. And again, how we can play in our inner environment to refine and to expand and to continue to evolve, so that we are creating an environment through which information and guidance can be received. How we cultivate that inner environment really determines our experience of life, and also what comes to us in life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what is the energy, the space, and the consciousness that our very selves are soaking in, right? And so that inner environment is what creates our health, our wealth, so much, right? And works with our DNA and our central nervous system. And so, yeah, so what type of inner environment? Um, should we just go right into what we mean by that?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So should we go into, so for example, when you're going to sleep at night, should we go there?
sure.
Yeah. So it's kind of like when we go to sleep at night. A lot of people are laying in bed and they're thinking about all the things they didn't get done, or they're falling to sleep into worry, fret, and fear, right? And so as you're going to sleep at night, our subconscious mind, which is where our programs come from, our subconscious mind has to go through, which brainwave is it, Veronica? The
Theta.
theta. So our subconscious mind goes through that theta bandwidth, that brainwave, which is the exact same brainwave that's being used during hypnosis. And so we all know the stage act of hypnosis, and the session, the guy wakes everybody up, or the hypnosis, the girl wakes everybody up, and they're, before they wake up, they're told, you're going to go back to your seats with the people you came with, and when I say squirrel, you're going to bark like a dog. And so the guy's sitting there, the girl's sitting there, totally awake, and he says the word squirrel, and he starts barking like a dog. It's because that's a program that has been placed into the subconscious that has to act itself out in our waking state. So the question is, what programs are we falling asleep to at night that have to play themselves out during our waking state? Is it worry, fret, and fear? Or is it ooh la la, love, and life is great? And so what programs are we hypnotizing ourselves to as we're going to sleep at night? Because that will play itself out. It has to. We're creating the program over and over and over.
Absolutely. And it's, it's simple and yet it's not always easy, right? So this is where it requires for us to take that leadership to really become conscious of, okay, noticing, well, what is playing out? That's kind of, the first step is noticing, like, what is it? Starting to watch what is playing out as you're falling asleep, or as you wake up in the middle of the night and then go back to sleep. What are the thoughts? What are the stories? What's the narrative that's playing itself out? And then once you become more practiced at noticing, because that for me took, quite a while to get used to being able to just notice what thoughts were playing out and what narrative was playing out in my mind. Then you have the ability to override or to interject or to even question, to really change the trajectory of that narrative and to start making different choices about the narrative that's playing out. So sometimes it can feel hard for folks when you are dealing with stressful things or tough things. It's like, well, how do I not think about it, right? So, for me, it was starting with the noticing. And once I got really, really more practiced at noticing the narrative, then I could consciously choose, okay, what would I like to experience instead? And what narrative, what story can I tell myself, or can I start to tap into and tune into as I'm falling asleep that can actually create a different inner environment?
I love that, because that inner environment is where our health, healing, and abundance happens. And I love that because, yeah, exactly. It's noticing it. And when you notice it, don't go, oh my God, I did that again. And the question, what is it that I'd like to experience instead? That's a whole call on itself. I love that. I have such great experiences of that. And you do too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
that is so
definitely.
huge. And like like you said, people aren't sure where to start when they notice the narrative. Notice the narrative. Don't make it mean anything. Don't make yourself wrong. Just kind of go, oh, I was doing that thing again. Huh, what is it that I would like to experience instead? And so that's where you use your imagination to just simply, oh, wouldn't it be nice if? Right? And so you use your imagination, but you know, not to the extreme that you can't get the feel of the thing. Meaning, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I made $1 billion tomorrow? Right? That might be too much for me to try to get the actual genuine vibration, the feel, the energy of it. And so you want to go with something that is, oh, wouldn't it be nice if? Like that it's not so out there, you can't get the feeling of it. You can't get the vibe of it, the energy of it, the space of it. And then what I like to do is like, oh my God, wouldn't that be nice? And then you, oh my God, wouldn't that be nice? Oh, wouldn't that be, that would be just so cool. What might that be like? What might that be like? And you just stay in and soak in that energy, and then let the energy itself take on a life of its own. Meaning I don't stay focused on the thing because I might be thinking, once the energy is there, you just start to soak in the vibe of the energy without the story or the thing that you used to create that energy. So now it's like, now let it go and let the energy take on a life of its own. And what else? And what else? And what else? And so when we can get that and really allow ourselves to soak in there, now we're going to sleep at night or walking into the grocery store, right? With that energy, that vibe, that space, that consciousness of that, right? So, and it could be, you know, it could be the smallest of things that activates that within us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really been helpful for me at least to, you know, be aware of the fact that the mind, it's almost like the mind wants to protect you, right? So the mind is like, if I focus on this, like, at least I won't be setting myself up for disappointment, or at least I'll be able to, um, be prepared for the worst, right? So I have noticed as I've watched myself over the years that my mind really wants to get in there and say, yeah, but you need to focus on this. Yeah, but you need to focus on this. And there are times when I, make the choice to move into, okay, well, what would I like to experience instead? And you can feel my mind wanting to pull me back. This is a problem. We need to figure it. So it does take some, some strong willpower sometimes, depending on how deeply rooted that the stress or the discomfort is, but there is a path to get into the feeling, the energy, and the belief that there's another opportunity available to us. And so to your point, Kim, it's like finding the one thing that you could shift to, and maybe it's just a little shift. Maybe things are just a little bit better. Maybe it's not that you're running through the clouds on rainbows, but maybe it's just that things are just a little bit better, and you could latch onto that, and what would that feel like, and really start to cultivate that energy through the imagination of what would it feel like as something different than what you're experiencing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and what was it that you said? Yeah, so the mind wants, that's its job, right? The ego's job is to, like you said, keep us safe. And so it's going to negotiate with all the yeah buts. Oh, that'll never happen, right? And again, it's just trying to protect ourselves. However, we've allowed that voice, if you will, to be the louder voice. And so we've paid so much attention to it that that voice has gotten really loud and noisy for a lot of people. And so in the beginning, yeah, it's a practice. It's a practice of noticing and, not ignoring, not pretending it's not there, but just practicing and, oh, I'm noticing it. And what is it that I would like to experience instead? And you let your imagination, you let the vibes go, and you play. I used to get in trouble for daydreaming in school when I was a kid, and I'm looking back now and I go, I think I was on to something. Right? And
100%.
so, because science actually totally agrees now that, what, energy, and Einstein tried to tell the world, everything is energy first. But it's not just doing verbal diarrhea to get there, right? For me, it's like I have to be able to get the energy of it, meaning be the energy of it, be the change I want to be in the world. So how do I do that? By allowing my imagination to activate it within me, inside the energetics. And that, again, then as I'm going to sleep at night, imagine now you're in that brainwave state of going to sleep at night. in more of an energy and a space and a consciousness and a vibe of what actually contributes to your life, right? And so now think of your cells soaking in that for however long you sleep. And as you said, Veronica, every time you get back up to go pee or whatever through the middle of the night, you get to go, oh, cool. Now I get to lay down and do that again. So you keep reprogramming, keep reprogramming, keep reprogramming, rewiring your own brain, rewiring your own default, because it's just a default to lay there and do the worry, fret, and fear. It's just a default. So let's create a new default. Let's rewire our own brain, knowing that the brain is plastic, neuroplasticity, right? We can actually rewire our own brain and create a new default, but we have to do the thing, right? And you know, you might be laying there and you're doing it and you're getting it, and then boom, you hear the voice again. Just come back. Don't go, oh no, I'm not getting it. I suck. It's more about, okay, there's that voice again, and you just keep coming back. Okay, so what else would I like to experience? Because it is a practice. It is a practice, and it begins with the practice of awareness of, okay, what are my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, worries, frets, and fears as I'm going to sleep at night or whatever. But that is when we can, going through that brain wave is when we can actually reprogram our subconscious mind. So let's use that opportunity. Yeah.
And this is something that you and I have, really played with for 15-ish years, right? And it's been one of the key foundational tools, if you will, processes that has been transformative for me, and I'm sure for you too, Kim. And it's one that I always come back to. As I stay committed to it, I notice changes. I notice changes in how I feel. I notice changes in the actual events or circumstances, or how things are playing out in my life, or how things are taking a new path. It's fascinating to watch, but it's kind of like going to the gym. Like, you got to lift those weights if you want to, and it's not always easy, because if we're used to eating bonbons and watching soap operas, it's hard to get up and get off the couch and go to the gym. But it's the same thing, right? It takes that willpower, and just you remember. And even though I've been doing it for 15 years, I could still choose to really get back into the practice, and I slip and slide until I consciously choose to get back up there and practice. So
Yeah, I agree. And again, like you said, it starts with just noticing, not beating yourself, and choosing something else. And yeah, it is the practice. And so, should we give them an experience of that?
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Do you want to do that? Or do you want me to do that?
Sure. Do you have something fresh in your mind?
I was just thinking of the piece of where we suggest they think about something that they really like or love. So why don't you
Yeah,
go
go
with
ahead.
that? Do you want to do
Okay.
that?
All right.
Excellent.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right. Sounds good. So, inviting everyone to close your eyes if you're able to, if you're in a safe spot to do so. If not, you can listen and try it on your own another time, and taking maybe a couple of deep breaths, becoming aware of your body, becoming aware of your thoughts, any thoughts that you've had before this moment, any thoughts that might still be playing out in this moment, just noticing them, noticing that they are a mechanism that are operating within you, but they are not you. Noticing if you have any feelings or emotions in this moment. Noticing your thoughts, noticing your body, noticing your feelings. And inviting you to call to mind something that you really appreciate. Something that you like, something that you love, something that you appreciate. Just scanning your life, your experiences. It can be as simple as a pen that you love to write with. It can be a pet. It can be a moment, a memory. Just really calling that to the forefront of your mind. And as you bring that into your mind, just noticing What activates for you? What activates in your body? What activates in your feelings? Where do you notice how that feels for you when you call that to mind? It might feel like a lightness. It might feel like an elevated emotion. And just notice how long you can hold on to it. And if your mind slips or your feeling slips into something else, call it back up into your mind. Feel what it feels like as you think about this thing, this person, this circumstance, this memory. And see if you can just choose to allow it to expand a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper, a little bit wider. Wherever you're feeling a feeling in your body, just notice if it can expand a little bit further. Maybe it flushes into your whole body, and maybe it doesn't. It's a perfect experience however you're experiencing it. And taking a deep breath. And if your eyes were closed, you can open them. And so it can be as simple as that, and it can be, one thing that you come back to over and over again. For me, I've had periods of times where it was different things. One time, when I started playing with this, it was a dog that I had, and there was a really dark point in my life where I was going through so much pain, and I couldn't latch on to anything that felt good. But I was living in a house and we had just recently renovated the stairs, and I really liked the stairs. And so I just focused on the stairs. I was like, oh, I like those stairs. Right? So it doesn't, sometimes we think it needs to be, something really big, like, oodles of cash or a big, beautiful romance. But often for me, it's been like the smallest things in life that I can appreciate and like and love.
Yeah. And yeah, basically what we're doing is we're using something outside of us to activate an energy that is already within us. So it doesn't matter what the thing is. I remember I had one client and she could not think of a thing. It was like, nope, nope, nope. And then I said, what about your favorite food? And she used a hamburger. So that was what helped her to get into the space of something she loves or really likes. It's a really good hamburger. Because it doesn't matter what the thing is. We're just using the thing to activate that which is already within us. And then we let go of the thing, right? And so imagine going to sleep at night in that kind of energy of love or like or appreciation where you're actually feeling it. Now your cells are soaking in that energy. Your subconscious is soaking in that energy. And then in your waking, walking daily life, that has to play itself out because you're putting in a new program. You're reprogramming, putting in love, like, appreciation, whatever it is for you. And so that has to play itself out, just like the hypnotism act on stage. Whatever's put in there has to play itself out. And so, yeah, it is creating a new default that creates the inner environment that also reflects what we become a match to with our outer world as well. So we create within, it's within me, it's all around me, and it's within all things. And yeah, so thank you for that, Veronica. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. This is beautiful. So, we love to leave you with a how, as we mentioned before. So this is your how as you leave this episode and, go out into your world. It's fun to start looking for what is it that I can bring to bed with me so that, you find those, those.
My brain just went everywhere.
I know. What can I take to bed with me? So scan your world for those little things and start playing. We'd love to hear from you to hear.
Yeah, and it could be
anything you
something that
notice.
happened today, or it could be something, an experience that you had when you were a kid. Oh my God, I loved going to the cottage, right? So yeah, so be creative.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. We're so grateful for walking on this path with all of you, and stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see what we get up to.
Absolutely.
Much love. Bye.